Alright, so we've gone all the way around and now have, well, something more like the Pavilion here. And as you can see, the temporary QLED point's getting narrow. It's going to come to a real point, I think, after the next treatment, the next series of cuts. And I won't, well, maybe I will bore you. I'll take this off once again, and I always get confused which side is the bottom, which side is the top. Someone help me out here. I think the part with the flange on it should be the bottom. That would make sense to me anyway, making contact there. But I don't know, maybe that's wrong. Remind me. Okay. And as you can see, you know, we haven't generated anywhere near as much slurry this time because, of course, we're not removing anywhere near as much material. So I'll go ahead and follow my system and put down some paper towel here and dry that sucker off. Take out the master lap. No, actually my system is to put that away and then take out the master lap. I'm not a very systematic person, but systems help here. I've continued to record all of what I've done here, where it's ditto marks I haven't bothered. But even just writing down the index, you know, is kind of an idiot check. It slows me down just enough to make sure that, yes, we really are on the 56 index. Now, if you ever find yourself not on the right index, well, you'll hear that. You'll hear that real quick. If you hear anything peculiar, you'll be wanting to pick up your gem and have a look at what's going on. And it's possible, you know, it happens to all of us sometimes that you've actually grabbed or you've actually set it to the wrong index, and maybe one that is not part of that plan, not part of that diagram, and you know, yeah, that might mean that you have to go back around and go back a couple steps, maybe go back to the prior tier, redo that. Getting a little out of my depth to know exactly what one does, so I really try not to put myself in that situation. And that seems like it's not too hard to avoid for me anyway. Plenty of other mistakes that I tend to make, and so we have a little bit of the slurry once again, but not nearly as much. But once again, and I'm repeating this because, well, we forget these things. Once again, going around and cleaning off all the slurry that I generated at 600 mesh, and especially the stuff that gets trapped here. Not as big a job as last time, far less slurry having been generated, and stick that master lap back on here and get out the 1200 grit right here. Yep, 1200. Okay, and guess what? I'm gonna go all the way around again and do the exact same thing, so I'm not gonna show you too much of that. I am kind of thinking that someone did tell me that it was this side up. Oh, I don't know. Let's see what happens if I put it this side up. If I put it this side up, it frees up this part of the lap. And it doesn't seem to make a whole heck of a lot of difference. So if you're watching and you know, maybe let me know if it's upside down now or if it's correct now. And so now, if we look over here, we have these, if you ever want a little water, you can just stick your fingers up here and just get a little out of your tank. We have these facets emerging, and we can see how rough or smooth they are after we dry that off. And now if I could just go ahead and set the index to 64 once again, and going round and round and round, same numbers, because we're still working on the same tier of facets. We're back at 64, and now I'm going to go and make sure I document what I'm doing once again, that we're still on the P1 cuts, we're still at 51 degrees. This time we're going to adjust, of course, the height to have just a little bit to go before 51 degrees. I mean, it's almost fine the way it is, but maybe I will just, for argument's sake, go up to the 0.25 level, which should give us just a little bit more to cut, and sharpen that Q-lit point. So now we're at 2.125, and note that here in the height that we're at 2.125. Is that correct? No. Yes. 2.125. Now I'm wondering if what I wrote before was correct or if it was 2.110. I don't know. I can't think about it right now. I'll figure it out later. Of course, still at cheater 0. But now we're at 1200 grit, and we're going back to the 64. And that angle is at around 51.2, let's say. So I just note 51.2 degrees to achieve that height, and get the drip started again. Drip, drip, drip. I like to slow down the drip about now because I don't need quite as much lubricant for the 1200. And I'll just do the first facet so you can see what that ends up looking like once we've got one facet cut to that degree. I'll do my little ritual of spreading some water here and kind of cleaning things a little bit. Probably doesn't do anything, but I do it anyway. Double check that it is at 64, that it is still at 51. Yeah, 51. Okay, and then on we go. Boom. Now we just hear the gentlest sound. Just the gentlest hush. Okay, I better stop this. We're at 8.5 minutes.